Back at it again, and oh boy, Democrats aren't gonna like this one too much. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And let's dive in.
And I want to turn to something new we're doing as part of our NBC News coverage of the 2024 election. We're excited to roll out this new initiative. It's called the Deciders. What we're going to see here throughout the year is that we will have our reporting teams on the ground consistently in 7 key counties, talking to the people, looking at the issues that will both define this election and hopefully explain this election. I'm joined now by correspondents who are part of this initiative. Shaq Brewster is in Dane County, Wisconsin, and Marissa Parra is in Miami-Dade County, Florida. So, Shaq, you're following specifically how Democrats in Dane County, a very Democratic county, are feeling going into 2024. Why is this county so important for us trying to read the Democratic headwinds, and how are the voters there feeling as we start to turn the page into an election year?
Yeah, this county is important because of a key word, and that's enthusiasm. It's important for Democrats and the Democratic Party's base to be enthusiastic as they're going into an election. And here in Dane County, you have a high concentration of young voters, progressive voters, college-educated voters, voters who turn out in elections and have turned out here in Wisconsin. Back in 2020, you saw a 90% voter turnout in this county, and it's a place where 3 out of every 4 voters and
90%
ended up backing Joe Biden. So
90% county where 3 out of 4 back Joe Biden. Interesting. Can we call up Scott Pressler? Where's Scott Pressler? Hey, yo, Scott, we need you. We need you, buddy. We need you. Shout out to Scott Pressler, by the way. If you don't know, well, if you don't follow me on Twitter, definitely follow me on Twitter, because I repost a lot of what Scott Pressler is doing, and he's actually doing some great work, doing some fantastic work. He's doing the Lord's work. He's actually going to these places and getting Republican voters registered to vote. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to see. Like I said, Scott Pressler is the name of the individual. I'm sure a lot of you already know who he is. But yeah, he's doing some fantastic work. I'm going to call up Scott Pressler and say, hey, we need you in Dane County. We need you in Dane County, Scott. I mean, the guy's incredible. Salute to Scott Pressler, man. Make sure you guys go and follow him as well.
enthusiasm matters, and that's why we're here to measure how folks are feeling about this election and the upcoming likely matchup. Listen what they told me about that.
Just give me the emotion that you have looking at your choice this election.
Not enthused. I'd say overall I feel very pragmatic and strategic about it.
All of these issues that are popular with Democrats, he has not only not addressed, but often gone the entire opposite way on. I mean, I can look at like almost every issue in my head that's important to me, and I see a failure on Biden's part.
You can say that Joe Biden's, he's not as progressive as you'd like, or he's not this, he's too old. I mean, the guy is at least reasonable and has some sort of logic to what he does and understands the basics of, I guess, how to be a president in some ways.
Even if I'm not enthused to effectively elect my grandpa a second time, boy, do I want to keep the other guy out.
If the election were tomorrow, what would you do?
I don't think I'd vote for him. I still couldn't, obviously I could not bring myself to vote for Trump, but it would be the first.
Well, we figured that one out.
First time, I think, if I had to choose tomorrow, it would be the first time I think I'd vote for someone else, like third party.
So there you go. Young folks not very enthused to back old Joe. And rightfully so. Why would they be enthused to back old Joe? But my thing is, when the guy said he's actually reasonable and there's a plan, I would love to sit down with that guy and ask him, what do you mean by that? First off, how is he reasonable? How? Explain that one to me. How is Trump unreasonable? Explain that one to me. And of course, there'd be some back and forth, but yeah, that statement was just absolutely ridiculous. Joe Biden is reasonable? Trying to throw your leading political opponent in jail is reasonable? That's Putin-like. You got that's exactly what that is. That's that's dictator stuff right there. You know, exactly what they accused Trump of trying to be. You know, the whole thing that Democrats do, they accuse Trump of being or doing exactly what they are or are doing. Classic example. There's another one for you right there. Interesting how that works.
Party.
Now, the Biden campaign is almost saying, wait, it is early. There's still a lot of time before the election. They also say that they are focused on many voter groups, that they know they have to win them over, and that they're already making investments specifically toward young voters. But that's just an example of why we're focusing on a county like Dane County, because we can measure and track how those voter sentiments are changing as we get closer to Election Day, Garrett.
Great stuff, Shaq. And I'm just glad we sent you to the coldest county so we can keep up our tradition of Shaq Brewster in miserably cold
places. I find my way inside.
All right, well, Shaq Brewster, thank you for that reporting inside today. Marissa, you got the other end of that coin. You're in the always relevant Miami-Dade County down in Florida, home state of not one but two Republican presidential candidates. What are we watching for in that county headed into next year?
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why Miami-Dade is an interesting place, an interesting county to watch for 2024, and not just because of the Hispanic population, one that is diverse at that, but also because everyone's question is whether or not the 2022 midterm results were a fluke or a sign of what's to come. I want to show you the voting trends, those numbers from 2012 to 2022, because you can see the Democratic erosion in those numbers. What you see is a boost of support for former President Trump after he got elected, and that is significant between 2016 and 2020.
Wow. That's an incredible swing right there. That's, 22 point swing. Now, granted, Trump still lost, but that's a 22-point swing. That's a ginormous swing right there. And then, obviously, the 22 with DeSantis, that's, 18? So 22, 18, and now Republicans are in the lead. I like it. I like it a lot. Yes, sir.
2016 and 2020. And then you can see former Florida Governor Ron DeSantis winning with over 55 percentage points, in large part, both of those gains because of Hispanic support. And these are gains, by the way, that the Republican Party has not seen in decades, since 2002 with Florida Governor Bush. So among the many things that we're keeping an eye on here, we're keeping an eye on the population changes. We're talking about, we know the Hispanic population here, roughly 70% identifies as Hispanic or Latino here, but half of that population is Cuban. There's a whole other half there that often gets neglected, often, not always. And what we're looking at is how effective it is when campaigns do reach out to the Venezuelans, to the Colombians, Chileans. We're also looking at the young population.
We've already heard from Venezuelans. We heard from them with Ami Horowitz video. Shout out to Ami. And they said Americans who basically vote for Democrats are idiots. They're fools because they're leading them down the same path that Venezuelans went down. So, yeah, Venezuelans ain't going for it. Nice try, though.
This is one of the fastest growing ethnic voting groups in the country, right up there with Asian Americans, Garrett. And so we're looking at young Latinos as they turn 18. How are they going to vote? Are they going to trend progressive as is projected? And so we know that these are places, Miami-Dade is a place that many campaigns have spent a lot of time in, Garrett, in very different ways, both in English and Spanish, billboards, radio, TV. We're looking at how they're targeting their target audience, which part of the Hispanic population they're targeting, and how effective that is over this next year.
Marissa, it's going to be fascinating to watch. Marissa, Shaq, thank you both. And we're going to be following these these key counties throughout the 2024 election year under the Deciders banner. Keep an eye out for that.
Thanks for watching.
So, yeah, Joe Biden is in serious trouble. Young voters, at least based on the polls, and you heard it a little bit here, aren't enthusiastic, and I don't think will show up for Joe. As a matter of fact, Trump is actually leading in the polls with young voters, which is crazy. It's wild. You don't normally see that. Typically, when people are young, you know, if you're not a Democrat, you're not compassionate, and you're supposed to be nice, and Democrats aren't nice, so you have to be a Democrat when you're young. And, you know, as you get older, you turn Republican. So to see young folks saying, no, I'm not voting for Joe, I'm voting for Trump, that's huge. That's huge. And I think you see that in Democrats' desperation. When you have mainstream media hosts saying it's not alarming in a democracy when someone gets taken off the ballot, right? What? I believe it was Rachel Maddow that said that. Like, it's not alarming in a democracy to take someone off the ballot. What? Huh? When you have Democrats saying stuff like that, you know they're panicking. You know they're panicking. They're just making up stuff. What? That doesn't even make sense. In a democracy, the people decide. The people get to decide. I don't know, man. That's just crazy. Absolutely insane to me. But what is also insane is that young voters are saying no to Joe Biden and yes to Uncle Trump, the Don. That's incredible. Joe's in trouble, and I can't wait until next election. It's going to be fun. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.